Hello friends, we are back with another income report for the year 2022. Now this one is a really exciting one because I hit a personal milestone, not an official TPT milestone, but a personal milestone that I am really excited about this year, and I'm really pumped. If you want to guess what that personal milestone was, leave it down below in the comments because I'm curious as to what you think my milestone might be before you watch. Don't cheat. But if you have a guess, you can leave it down below right now. And yeah, so before we get into it, I have a couple disclaimers as per usual. Number one is that TPT varies by person and by store and by products. So what that means is that just because I made this amount of money does not mean that you're going to make this amount of money. There are people who make a lot less than me and a lot of people who make a lot more money than I do, and I'm, you know, somewhere in the middle there. But this is just my personal experience, and I love to share my personal experience so you have some frame of reference, because frankly I had no idea that this was going to happen when I got started 4 years ago. So I would like to provide a little bit of inspiration for you. If at any point you find this not inspiring, but you feel bad in any way about your store, go ahead and click out of the video, because this video is not here to make you feel bad. This video is here to, you know, make you feel inspired and ready to go and make you want to go make some products. So if it doesn't make you feel like that, then it's not serving you. Don't watch it. Disclaimer number 3 is that this is my 4th year on TPT, and I had a year where I blogged and didn't have a TPT shop yet. So I've had 5 years of building an audience, 5 years of being on the internet, and that makes a huge difference. I did not just get started, and through those 5 years I have put a lot of hours in, which means that if you know, put in 1 or 2 hours, and it's probably not going to be the same. I find number of hours worked makes a much bigger difference than number of years on TPT. For reference, if we haven't met, hi, I'm Becca. I teach elementary music. I just hit 800 products in my TPT store. I got started in my blog in like September, I think, of 2017, and I started my TPT store in 2018, also in like September-ish. For reference, those years I made, in 2018, I started in September, so I started kind of at the end of the year, and I made $189.21. In 2019, I made $7,816.56. In 2020, I made $21,459.90. And in 2021, I made $58,322.49. So if you want more details about that, you can go watch previous income reports, because I do talk more in depth about all of those things there. But I want to give you a frame of reference before we get to the new stuff. Now that we have arrived in 2022, well, now it's 2023, but now that we have finished 2022, we're going to talk all about income that I have made. I'm going to kind of breeze through the first 6 months because I did a 6-month income report in the summer. So I'm going to go through those really quickly, and then we'll talk a little bit more in depth about the second half of the year and how that's gone. And I'll give you some tips at the end that would be helpful to know, to, you know, make sure that you're gonna make money too, because the whole point is that you can also make money. Okay, so let us see. This year, 2022. Okay, so January of 2022, I made $7,256.32. Sorry, I'm really bad at reading off numbers, fun fact, which you will notice during this video. So that was January. That was twice as much as I had made the previous January, so I was super, super pumped about that. But I was even more pumped for the next month, where I made $10,250.77. I was blown away. I was so excited. That was my first 5-figure month. That was my big goal this year, was I wanted to hit 5 figures and get to the point where I was doing that more consistently. So that was like really huge. February tends to be a good month for me because there's a sale in February. So that tends to work out pretty well. In March, I made $7,394.76. And then in April, I made $7,030.50. It's really fun when you've been on TPT for a while and you can start to see trends. So my March and April tend to be very, very close every single year. And then May always goes down by a little bit. And this May was no exception. I made $6,711.60. I should stop and say, these figures are all how much I have made in earnings. So how much TPT has paid out after their cut is already taken out. So this is not total sales, it is earnings. It is the actual money that went into my bank account. It is not all the money I get to keep because I gotta like pay taxes and I have expenses in the business and that kind of stuff, but it is the money that I was paid out by TPT. Now, June is always a sad month because I went from, you know, $6,000 to June, which was $1,606.66. But it is what it is. That's always where I end my first 6 months income report. And it's always really sad to be like, yeah, and then I made like not nearly as much money. Now, is $1,000 still really great? Yes. And so actually I'll tell you the next one before I keep going. Okay, so July, I made $1,743.07. I think this is the first year that I made more in July than in June by like $100. Now, again, $1,000 is awesome. Super happy about that. But it's a lot less than I was making. So June and July are always going to be really, really low months. And again, once you get into kind of a rhythm on TPT, you can notice those fluctuations and it feels more normal. In June and July, it is very normal to have days and days with 0 sales. It's okay. Don't stress if that's you because it happens. It's just because people are on summer vacation. So don't freak out. You want to throw that in. And the fall always makes up for it. This year, more than ever, it's been a few months and I still don't want to say this number out loud because it is insane. This is the highest month of the whole year. And that was August. I can't believe I'm saying this. In August, I made $18,036.53. I was in complete and utter disbelief. I was just hoping for, you know, 10,000, maybe 12 or 13 would be cool, but $18,000. I still can't believe it, and I already got that money and it's been a few months, but it's still like, just looking at it, it's just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that. It is just so wild to me that that happened. Yeah. So couple things that do happen in August. I made a bunch of back to school resources this year. I also spent a lot of effort getting more people on my email list this year. So then all the emails I sent during back to school season made a much bigger impact because I had a much bigger email list. And there's also the back to school sale in August. And again, those back to school resources do very well. September was lower, but still very exciting. So September brought me $13,374.73. So again, still very exciting. It's funny because it's like, even though it's lower, I'm still really excited about that because that's still really stinking good. And again, September is a lot of back to school resources and just, you know, people getting ready for school. So those 2 months tend to be really high because people are gearing up for the school year, getting, you know, all their things in. This is the time where people are more willing to purchase because they have the whole year to use these resources instead of like at the end of the year where they're, you know, almost done. So I find people are much more willing to purchase at that time. In October, I made $11,047.45. October tends to be pretty good. September, October tend to be pretty good. I have a lot of Hispanic lessons on my store, and that's Hispanic Heritage Month in there. And then this year I added some like Halloween and fall activities, which helped. And then I always run a personal sale because my birthday's in October, so I always do like a birthday sale. So that is really nice. And then this year, actually, I just noticed, and I'm very proud about this, November was $11,011.73. And I'm really excited about that because typically what happens is it's like August, September, October, November's way down. November has historically been a difficult month for me, and I've done different things to kind of remedy that. So one year I did like promotions through my email every single week. So I had like freebies that are not normally free, and then like certain things discounted and things like that. That worked pretty well. This year what I did specifically is that I made sure that I had Thanksgiving resources. I know the answer to all your problems is seasonal resources, but not really. But that is my biggest thing, is if I see a hole in my year, the first thing I think is, okay, do I have any seasonal resources? And I didn't have really anything for Thanksgiving. I had like 1 or 2. So I really made an effort, and I made some really good seasonal resources in November that I was super excited about, that were really great. I advertised them a lot, and like I did the work to make sure that pulled off. And then November also had the Cyber Monday sale, which is sometimes in November, sometimes in December. This year, both days of the sale were in November, so that also helped. I had a really good sales day on the sale, and I have to say, after the Cyber Monday sale is when I knew I was gonna hit my goal, and I was like so elated, and just so nice to go into December, which is the craziest month of the year for me because I teach elementary music. So I'm in concerts that I'm singing in, I'm directing concerts, I'm doing field trips. Like, it's crazy town for musicians in general, but especially music teachers. So going into that month when I knew I wasn't gonna be able to spend as much time on my business, knowing I was like pretty much gonna hit my goal, was really exciting. And December was way down because people are only in school for half the month, and honestly I didn't do nearly as much marketing as I maybe should have in December, because I knew I was gonna hit my goal, 1, and 2, I was so busy and so tired. But anyway, I did scrape out a good $5,782.68 in December, which I thought was pretty reasonable, especially for the amount of work that I put in. Although that does make it the lowest month other than the summer months. And y'all, with the summer months, I don't even calculate them. When I try to figure out like how much I want to make for the year, I put them at 0. And then anything that I get is exciting, even if it's a fraction of what I have made in other months. So when you put all of these things together, I was able to hit my goal. Let's see if I can find my thing, because I already calculated it. When you put all that together, it gives you a whopping $101,246.80. I am like over the moon about hitting that goal. 100,000 was my goal for this year that I really wanted to hit. I didn't think it was gonna happen because it just seems super pie in the sky. Last year my goal was 60 and I made 58. So this year I I didn't hit my goal last year, so that was kind of like eh. And then on top of that, making it so high and so much higher really scared me, frankly. And I worked my butt off this year. Not that I didn't work the other years, but I really worked my butt off this year in order to make sure that I hit that goal. And like I said, I wasn't sure I was gonna hit it until November, the end of November. Like going into December, I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna like hit this. This is exciting. So I am super pumped about that. It was a huge milestone personally for me. It's not a TPT milestone, but it was a huge milestone for me that I am very excited about. And yeah, we'll see what this year brings us. But all of that to say, I do want to give a couple of thoughts about, you know, what might be next. I also, let me know your thoughts. I feel like at some point these income reports might become weird, or maybe they were weird the whole time. I feel like, you know, like, should I stop now that I've hit 100,000 and be like, okay, you know, not share it anymore? Or do I keep going? Because like, you know, I don't want it to be weird. I don't want to get targeted for like schemes or anything. Sorry, my dog is like, I think you're done filming now. I'm almost done. Almost done, I promise. But I will keep petting you under the camera. So anyway, let's talk about a couple of things that have really helped me this year in particular. Number one is really adding to my email list. This was kind of unintentional. I was going to do a course this year and then I didn't do the course, but in preparation for the course, I spent months advertising my new freebie and getting people onto my email list. And that was like priority number one, because I was like, if I'm gonna do a course, I want to sell it to as many people as possible. I need my email list to be as big as possible. So in that, I wrote lots and lots and lots of blogs, made lots and lots of videos that were all talking about a certain topic, and I had a freebie related to that topic that was general enough that it would go with all of them. Would you stop? Now she's eating my foot. So that way I was able to promote it in all the videos, in all the blog posts. So multiple blog posts that I was able to promote this freebie, and also give people helpful tips about whatever we were talking about. But I was able to, you know, advertise that way, and that got a lot of people onto my email list this year, which was a huge help. Which is also great because with your email list, like, it's the same amount of work to send an email to 2 people as it is to send to like 200 or 2,000 or 200,000. So adding to your email list is a great way to get more return out of your time without, you know, making new products and stuff like that. So that's number one. Number two is I made some really big product lines this year, specifically in things that were seasonal and doing every single season. So I had like rate the room activities that I did for every single season. I had some movement activities I did for most of the seasons. I didn't get all of them, but I got some. And like I had a couple of those things that are product lines that are not just like 4 or 5 products, but ended up being, you know, 10, 15, 30. The rate the rooms are like 15 a piece, and I did them for every season, so I don't even want to do that math. But like having really big product lines, because I can make a lot of them quickly. One, I can bundle them so people are purchasing higher ticket items, or they purchase more than one at a time, because not everyone needs a whole bundle, but they might need 2 or 3 or something like that. And I was then able to kind of, it makes marketing a lot easier, because I, you know, can make a reel about Rate the Room and it's still relevant if it's a different Rate the Room than the one I showed, which means that it keeps popping up, people keep seeing it, it's something they're used to, it's something that I talk about a lot, and so they're more likely to purchase. So having really big product lines is something that I did this year that made a really big difference. You don't necessarily have to do that because it is kind of crazy, but it was something that did make a big difference to me. I also did some updates to some older products, and I do think that that helped a lot. I also focused a lot more. My previous couple of years have been a lot of like, let's experiment, let's see what's going on, let's see what's working and what's not working. And this year I really doubled down on one, TPT, and so I spent less time, frankly, sorry, on y'all, and I spent less time on, you know, my Becca's Bible class, and I spent less time on like all of those other things, which I still love, I still do, but I focused the most of my time on TPT because that is what is making me the most money. And so I was able to, you know, really lay into that and do better because I was able to focus on that. The other thing I focused on was focusing on certain products. So again, having those really big product lines, I kind of niched down a little bit this year, kind of, sort of. I did a lot of center stuff pre-pandemic, and then the pandemic kind of threw the wrench in all that. But now that people are getting back into centers and stuff like that, I am doing a lot more small group, a lot more group work, a lot more of that kind of stuff. So it's kind of niching down, but not really, because I was already doing it, but whatever. I did a lot of those kind of products and just kind of thinking through like, what do I want people to expect from me? And also trying to be really strategic about like what I think is actually going to sell well. And the last thing I want to mention that really helped this year is paying a lot of attention to my listing pages, which means my previews, my thumbnails, my covers, all of that kind of stuff. So that's a couple of things that you can do to help your store do even better. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.